Hello, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kayla. If you're new here, you should definitely subscribe. Today, I'm going to be showing you all the books that I read in 2022. We have quite a few. I broke my goal. My goal was only 24 because I was just like getting into reading and I was finishing up my last year of college, so I knew I wouldn't have a ton of time to read, but I managed to read quite a few. My bookshelf is empty. I just have one little cube that's full, or two little cubes that's full of books. All the rest are empty with these things. So let's get into it. If you want to add me on Goodreads, because I've been keeping up with it all year, this is my account, Kayla Stacy. Go at it. So in January, I read 2 books. The first book I read this year is The Holiday Swap by Maggie Knox. I've talked about this in a couple other of my book videos, but this one is like a holiday baking show mixed with small town vibes, like twins swap places, you know. It's the basic like Hallmark Christmas movie. People fall in love, it's cute, it's wholesome, good book. I gave this one 5 stars. Next, I read The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. I know a lot of people like hate it, some people love it. I loved it. I thought it was very like, it gave a new perspective of life. It was very interesting. Yeah, it's a good book to read when you're going through a hard time because it's like, okay, things aren't that deep. You can change how your life is going, and it's a great book. I gave this one another 5 stars. Started the year off strong. And then I don't have it with me, I gave it to my stepmom, but Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover was my next book. This is the only book that's actually made me like cry and literally affected my life. I read it in one day, one sitting, did not stand up. It was crazy. A very inappropriate book, but a very sad and like emotional book at the same time. It was wild. Definitely read like trigger warnings on that. Don't just jump into it because it's very depressing, but also amazing. Like if you can read it, you definitely should. 5 stars. Then I read The Dating Playbook by Farah Roshan. I only partially remember this book, and on my Goodreads, all I put was very cute love story. That was my whole review, and I gave it 5 stars. Since it wasn't very memorable, I think I'd say it's like 4 stars now, but apparently it's a very cute love story, so go read that if you want like a lighthearted read. And you already know how I feel about The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Okay, listen, this is my baby. I love this book with my whole entire heart. No one can change my mind. I don't know how anyone would not like this book. Like, I read the reviews after. How do people not like it? It's so good. Like, everything is amazing. It's incredible. 10 out of 10. I gave this a 6 star. My favorite book. My favorite book. Read it. Read it right now. I'm not joking. Go read it. Buy it. So good. And then we have Reunion by Hannah Pittard. I don't know how to say her last name. This book was like 3 stars for me. I was not obsessed. It was like this family, the dad died and everyone had to go like take care of his stuff, but he had like a hoarder house and no one really vibed with him. He like jumped around with wives and stuff. It was not my cup of tea. So 3 stars. And then The Hawthorne Legacy. Yeah. It's the second book to The Inheritance Games. You need to read it. Once again, 6 stars. Amazing, incredible, lovely, action-filled, romance-packed. So good. Go read it. Literally now. It's so good. Oh my god. Next up, we have People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. I did not really vibe with this. It's a very hyped up book. Same with Beach Read. I don't really get the hype. And it kept going like back and forth through different time periods, and that confused the crap out of me. It would go like 6 summers ago, and then I would jump back to present tense. I don't like when books do that. I don't like when it goes back and forth so well. And it wasn't done like well. It would always happen right before some big event was about to happen, and then it would skip back and you'd have to be like, oh yeah, this was about to happen, and then it would happen and it wouldn't be like that great. So I gave this book 3 stars. Didn't love it, no. And then we get into May, and May was my best reading month. I read 5 books in May. The first one is The Royal Holiday by Jasmine Galori. I got this from Ollie's. It was $3.99. Love me a cheap book. I thought this was gonna be a romance story where like this young girl goes to like the UK and meets a prince. Okay, no, that doesn't happen. It's based on the mom in the book. So it was weird reading about like a mom. That's my fault. I should have like read the back. I should have actually looked at the cover because that is clearly not a young woman and not a young man. But that's my fault. Other than that, it was a great book. I just gave it 3 stars because I thought I was reading a young adult book and it was not young adult. But like for the general vibe, it was like a very good story. So if you're prepared to read about like a mom's romance, go for it. I wasn't expecting to, so only 3 stars for me. Next up, we have one of my favorite books, Reminders of Him by Colleen Hoover. I gave this 6 stars. It was so good. Just everything about it I loved. I never got bored. It gave every kind of emotion you can imagine. It was a roller coaster, but amazing. 6 out of 5. Go read it. Another 6-star book is The Summer of Broken Rules by K.L. Walther. Read it as well. This is my 4th favorite book because the 3 Inheritance Game series books, those are number 1, 2, and 3. This is number 4 and you need to read it really bad. Like, it's so good. So good. Perfect Visco summer. It gives all the good summer vibes, like nostalgia. There's some romance, there's some like enemies to lover vibes. It's really good. So go read this as well. And if you live in a place where it's snowing, like I do, it's snowing outside. If you live in a snowy place, read this. It'll take your mind away from how it's 10 degrees outside and you'll be transported into a fun summer place. It's amazing. Read it. Then we have Not Like the Movies by Carrie Winfrey. I was hoping this would be like better than the movies because Haley Pham hypes that book up. So I saw this and I'm like, maybe it's gonna be similar. So I got it. It was not my favorite book. Like, I knew what was gonna happen in the first like 20 pages. So it was very predictable. The dialogue in it was pretty good. One thing that like stood out to me was how if the main character was being like dramatic and stupid, she was aware of it and like that was described in the writing, which a lot of books don't do. They're just like, this character is being dramatic, we're rolling with it. And I like that they like knew that it was dramatic and dumb because it made it more realistic. But yeah, 3 stars on this one. Then we have The Vacationers by Emma Straub. I picked this book up 3 times. I could not get through it any time. I think I made it like 50 pages in. I couldn't read it. I don't know why. It was just so boring to me. So, DNF. Then we have One Italian Summer. Look how gorgeous this cover is. I'm obsessed with it. When I bought this, oh, it's by Rebecca Searle as well. When I bought this, I thought it was gonna be a love, like an Italian romance. This girl was gonna go to Italy, fall in love. No, that did not happen. It was like about her relationship with her dead mom, and there was some like almost magic that happens, and it really was not what I was expecting. Fun fact, I don't read the back of covers, or I don't read the back of books. Like, I rarely read them. So I picked this up based on the title and the cover and a recommendation from a YouTuber that I didn't hear the description about. So I didn't know what this was about, and it was not what I was expecting at all. I apparently don't like reading about mothers in books. Don't know what that's about. But once again, because I didn't know what I was getting myself into, I gave it 3 stars. It was a good book overall, just not what I wanted to read, not what I was expecting. 3 stars. 10 out of 10 for the beautiful cover though. Next we have Sunkissed by Casey West. This was a really cute summer read. It gave all the good summer vibes. It was like summer camp. There was a music contest that got incorporated into it. So the vibes were great, but comparing it to Summer of Broken Rules, it didn't compare. So I gave this 4 stars just because I'd rather read Summer of Broken Rules again than read this. You definitely should if you're looking for some summer books. Definitely read this one. Then we have The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This is a very good book, kind of. I like it more than the show. The show and the book are completely different, which I wasn't expecting at all. This book, you'll want one of the brothers to have her. The show, you're gonna want another brother to have her. So, I don't know. I don't like that they messed with it so much. Like, but it kind of makes it more interesting, but still it's not like the same story. But I think this is a very overhyped book, and I don't get the hype. again. And if anyone is on Team Cameron, no. I do not know what brother I want. They're both good in different ways. So let me know in the comments what you think. 3 out of 5 stars. Then we have Book Lovers by Emily Henry. Once again, extremely overhyped. Apparently I don't like Emily Henry books, which is very disappointing. Like, it took me so long to read and get into, and I never really got into it. Like, at the very end I kind of did, but that's about it. It took me 200 pages to get into it, and there was like not much romance for majority of the book. It was pretty boring. 3 stars. Another overhyped book in my opinion is Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia, I don't know, Owens. Anyway, this book everyone like loves. I could not get into it. It was so painful to read, and the main reason I did read it was because my stepmom wanted to go to the movies to watch like the actual movie, and I didn't want to like watch the movie without reading the book, so I read the book just so I could see the movie, and it was exactly what I expected. Like, it was not my vibe, and just like Book Lovers, it took me like 200 pages to get into it, and then something actually finally started happening, and the endings for the book and the movie were different. Not cool at all, because the movie, I like the movie way better for majority of it, but the ending sucked, and then this whole book, the whole front sucked, and then the ending was really good. So I was like, but yeah, I was gonna give this book 1 star, but the ending made it a 3 star. So do with that what you will. Next up we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. This is a 5 star for me. I liked majority of the book. It all like went well, like went smoothly, and I never got bored. 5 stars. It was really cute, really good. Had like realistic scenes, there's fake dating, there's a whole bunch into this book. So 5 stars. And then we have one of my favorite books of the year. This is a 6 star, November 9 by Colleen Hoover. I loved this book so much. Ben is so cute, and while yes, things did not go according to plan, Ben is still one of my favorite book boyfriends and book people. He's so cute. And Fallon, oh, I just love this. It's so good. So yeah, one of my favorite books I've read this year, 6 stars. Go read it. You have to read it. Like, you literally cannot not read it. Read it now. And then we have All Your Perfects. My nan's dog chewed the corner of it, so ignore that. I read like 50 pages of this, and it was one of the most depressing things I've read ever. Even like compared to Ugly Love, like I couldn't get through this. It was making me really sad. DNF'd it. Will not pick it back up. I don't like reading sad stories. I like reading like full circle, like things come together, and it's not just like sad the whole book. This is sad the whole book. So DNF, sorry Colleen. Then I tried another one, It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. This one I gave 4.5 stars. It's really sad for a lot of the book. Not like All Your Perfects. This one's like, it's not all completely sad. It's like there's good parts, then there's really sucky parts and sad parts, but it like keeps going back and forth, so you're intrigued and you don't want to stop reading, you want to see what happens. And then there's another person, Atlas, oh my god, another one of my favorite book characters ever. It's so good. This one also gives a lot of perspective on things, so go read it. Also look at trigger warnings, because there is one that you need to like be aware of. But yeah, 4.5 stars. And then we have The Final Gambit, the third in the Inheritance game. This one I tabbed for the first time. This is the only book I've ever tabbed. It's amazing. So good. Love it. And there's another book that Jennifer is writing right now. I follow her on Instagram. So it's the prequel to all of this. And I'm pretty sure it's just going to be about all the brothers, which is going to be so good to read. These brothers are so good. Read this. Like, you literally, if you've made it this far in the video and watched my other book videos, you already know you need to read this series. So I don't know why you still haven't. Like, go read it. Thanks. Alright, next up we have The Guest List by Lucy Foley. This, look how, it's my littlest, tiniest book, and it's super thick. This book was so good. Sometimes I was like, okay, like, get on with it, because there's I think it's 6 characters that it keeps going back and forth from, and you get a perspective from each one at the wedding they're at. Someone dies and it just keeps like going from past to present, but in the one weekend of the wedding, and it flows really well. It's not like the other books where I was talking about how it like jumps around but doesn't make sense. This one actually makes a lot of sense. It needs the back and forth. It makes it more intriguing and more mysterious, and throughout the whole book you have no idea who the killer is or like what happened. So very good. I gave this one 5 stars. Then we have It Starts With Us, and this is the sequel to It Ends With Us. This one has a lot of Atlas, which you already know I love. This is my second favorite Coho book. The first one is November 9, and then this is the second. It's literally so good. The romance and like the cuteness is so good. There's not really any sad scenes or like upsetting scenes in this one. 6 stars. Then we have The Flat Share by Beth O'Leary. I was looking for this book for like 2 months, and I finally found it at Barnes & Noble after looking in there for like 20 minutes one day. So my hopes were very high for this one. Oh, also I found it at a local bookstore, like not even looking for this book. It was just sitting right in front of me for $1. I'm like, oh, okay. But that was like 2 days after I found this at Barnes & Noble. Anyway, my hopes were very high for this, and it disappointed me a bit. It was kind of slow. Some of it was good. I loved all the little notes that they had, and I liked the ending, but overall, it did not exceed my expectations. I gave this 3 stars. And then I read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I don't have it with me because I gave it back to my sister because it's hers, but this is the sequel to it, Good Girl, Bad Blood. This is the next book I'm reading, and for A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, why is this so hard to say? It was like solving a murder, basically. I had many ideas throughout the book, and a lot of them I was pretty correct on, but the ending, I did not see that coming. Like, it was very surprising, and I highly recommend. That was a very good one. I gave it 4 stars. And then the book I'm reading right now, which will probably be my last or second to last read of the year, but I'm reading Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. Haley Pham hypes this book up so freaking much. So my expectations were like, this is gonna be infinite stars, because this is like her #1 read of all time, and she's read like 100 books this year. Yeah, I had very high expectations. So far, not loving it. Not loving it very much. I'm on page 217. I feel like this is where it's gonna start getting more interesting. I haven't gotten like completely bored of it, but it hasn't like made me want to keep reading and keep reading. And one of the chapters was 60 pages long. I like chapters that are like 8 pages, so then I can like stop and pick it up quickly. So if the chapters were broken up more, I think I would like it more, and I feel like it would make it speed along a bit faster. I don't really understand all of the quotes in it because it's like very rom-com heavy, and I don't watch rom-coms very much. Like, there's been a couple that I know. No, I think there's only been like 1 or 2 that I know, and then the rest I've heard of but don't know anything about. So it's hard to follow sometimes. The main character is kind of annoying because she's so like oblivious to everything. Like, I knew what was gonna happen on like the 5th page. This girl is just not getting it. It's been 200 pages and she's like almost getting it now, and it's just a little frustrating because it's like, really, like, you know what guy you need to be with, just get with him. Right now I'm at like 2 stars on this, but we'll see how the ending is. Maybe I could revive it and it'll be like a 5 star. Probably not. It'll probably be a 4 star max, but we'll see. If you want to see all my books reviews in real time, follow my Instagram. I have a whole highlight where I post all my stars of each book, so go follow that if you want to keep up. Zach, can you help me for like 5 seconds? Okay, I need you to stack all these books into my other arm and make them even.
Yeah.
Alright, these are all the books I read this year. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you give it a big thumbs up, subscribe, and turn on bell notifications to get notified every time I post a new video. And I'll see you next time. Peace.